If you clicked on this video, you know that feeling. You see a beautiful woman at a coffee shop, at the gym, anywhere, and something in you wants to go talk to her. But then the freeze kicks in. Your heart speeds up, your head fills with doubt, and you just stand there, and the moment passes. The worst part? You don't even fully understand where that fear comes from. It feels irrational, but it's real, and it's holding you back. Here's the thing though, that fear isn't a flaw. It's not who you are. It's the result of a few wrong beliefs or myths that most men carry around without ever questioning them. And once you identify those beliefs and knock them down, approaching stops feeling like a risk and starts feeling like what it actually is. Just a conversation. That's exactly what I'm going to cover on this video, myth by myth that you should debunk, and also the mindsets that you need to use after breaking those wrong beliefs. No pickup scripts, no guru nonsense, just what actually works. Let's go to the first myth. Approaching a woman is intrusive. Most guys believe that walking up to a stranger is annoying, unwelcome, that she's going to feel pressured or uncomfortable. That idea has become so common, it's basically accepted as fact, and it's keeping genuinely good men from ever making a move. Here's where that's wrong. The feeling of intrusion doesn't come from the approach itself. It comes from how you do it. There's a massive difference between forcing yourself into someone's space and walking up with ease, a smile, zero pressure on the outcome. One feels like an imposition, the other doesn't. What determines whether you come across as welcome or invasive is the energy you're carrying before you even open your mouth. So go in with nothing to prove. You're not trying to win her over. You're not looking for validation. You're just starting a conversation. Once you internalize that, everything about the way you show up shifts, and she feels that before you say a single word. Myth 2, any setting is appropriate for a direct approach. A lot of guys think the problem is just nerves, that if you could push through the fear, you could approach anywhere. But context matters, and ignoring it is a reliable way to make things awkward for everyone. There's a real difference between open and closed environments. Open environments, like a park, a casual bar, a social event, are places where social interaction is already expected. You can be more direct, more relaxed, more spontaneous. Closed environments, like a gym floor, public transit, or a bank line, are places where people are mentally in their own lane. They're not available for contact. In those settings, even the smoothest approach is going to land wrong. Being smart isn't about being bold all the time. It's about reading the room before you act. That's not hesitation. That's the difference between the guy who starts conversations that actually go somewhere and the guy who keeps creating uncomfortable situations. Myth 3, smiling and good energy is just try-harding. Some guys walk up to a woman with a closed-off face, flat tone, tense body language, and then wonder why she seemed guarded. We mirror what we receive. Mirror neurons in the human brain cause us to unconsciously pick up on the emotional state of whoever's in front of us. You show up tense, she goes on the defensive. You show up relaxed, the space opens up. That's not a romantic idea, that's biology. And here's the shift. You don't have nearly as much control over what you're going to say in the first few seconds as you do over how you're going to show up. So train the state before you train the script. Myth 4, if she didn't respond well, I must have done something wrong. This is the myth that causes the most unnecessary suffering. A guy does everything right, gets a cold response, and spends days going over where he messed up. The truth? Sometimes she's got something heavy on her mind. Sometimes she just went through something. Sometimes she's simply not in the headspace for any conversation with anyone. It's got nothing to do with you. The whole point of an approach isn't to convince anyone of anything, it's to identify who's already open. And that reframe changes everything, because now you're not trying to overcome resistance, you're just checking for availability. A cold response stops being rejection and starts being information. The beliefs I covered comes down to 2 practical shifts, no techniques, just mindsets. The first one is that you should calibrate your energy before you walk over to approach. Take a breath, drop your shoulders, remind yourself you have nothing to prove. A genuine smile and open body language create an environment where the interaction feels safe, for you and for her. I'm not talking about forcing positivity. I'm talking about showing up present without the tension of someone who needs approval. The second shift is that you should test for interest early and respect what you got from the test. Is she engaging in the conversation? Is her body turned toward you? Is there any emotional exchange, eye contact, openness, a little vulnerability? If yes, that's a green light. If not, you already have your answer. Respecting those red lights isn't easily giving up. It's what makes you the kind of man that is solid and perceptive, that women feel they can actually trust to not be intrusive. So let's close this out. The fear of approaching doesn't come from shyness. It comes from wrong beliefs about what an approach actually means, that you're intruding, that you need to convince her, that a cold response means you failed. When you dismantle those beliefs, the fear doesn't vanish overnight, but it loses its argument. And once it loses its argument, it stops running the show. You don't need unlimited courage, you need clarity. When you stop trying to impress and start simply showing up with the right energy, reading the signals, respecting the outcome, Approaching becomes something natural for you and for her. That's it for today. Subscribe to more videos, and I see you in the next one.